quick heads up before we get into it. Midweek reports said Xavier Worthy was held out of one practice for shoulder and ankle treatment, but returned to practice and is on track to play Week 6 against the Lions. That's the baseline we're working from. A short precautionary absence, not a season-threatening setback. All right, here's the straight talk. Xavier Worthy trending toward being available this Sunday matters a lot. You know why? His speed is a real structural piece for this offense. When he's on the field, safeties and defensive coordinators have to respect the top of the field. And that single respect changes everything for Patrick Mahomes and the rest of the Kansas City attack. Worthy's shoulder and ankle treatment looked precautionary. He skipped a Thursday practice, came back, and the team language indicates he's expected to be available. That doesn't mean the staff will treat him like a full go if they're worried they'll manage reps. But the good news is you should expect to see him in the rotation rather than on the inactive list. So what does that availability actually mean for the game plan against Detroit? First, his presence alone forces the Lions to play the field differently. Detroit has shown a tendency to be aggressive up front and physical at the line, but their deep coverage has been vulnerable when they face pure speed. Worthy's track-level burst and ability to separate on vertical routes means the Lions can't play compressed coverage without inviting big plays over the top. That creates cascading benefits. Linebackers have to respect the threat and won't bite as hard on play action. Safeties can't roll down as easily to take away intermediate routes, and Mahomes suddenly has more space to go through his progressions. What's special about Worthy is not only how fast he is, but how he uses that speed within the route tree. He's smooth in his breaks, which matters on long developing post routes and deep crossing concepts. And he's effective both in straight line vertical shots and on routes that attack zones. Even if he's only at 80 to 90%, his mere presence on the field compresses defenders mentally and strategically. Expect at least one designed shot or two early in the game. Not necessarily to score, but to establish the vertical element and make Detroit pay attention. That early message often forces a defensive adjustment that benefits Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, and Travis Kelce later in the drive. Now, let's get into how Andy Reid and the offensive staff are likely to deploy him. Reid loves to create spacing and deception, and Worthy is tailor-made for motion-based misdirection and stress plays. Look for him to line up in a variety of spots, outside, in the slot, and in pre-snap motion. Jet motion and orbit motion are perfect ways to force the defense to reveal coverage or hesitate for half a beat. That hesitation gives Mahomes the split second he needs to manipulate a safety or find a soft spot in zone. The Chiefs could mix in designed gadget plays, quick screens that start as run fakes, or play-action shot plays where Worthy runs a deep over to punish aggressive secondary defenders. Given the shoulder and ankle checkups this week, expect limited but strategic usage to start the game. It's reasonable to forecast a rotational snap count in the 25 to 35 snap range early on, enough to influence the defense without exposing Worthy to unnecessary contact. Those sets will likely be third and medium or obvious passing down sequences, plus specific early down plays designed to test matchups and create shot opportunities. Worthy's motion will also serve as a real-time coverage check. Whenever he moves across the formation, Mahomes gets to read whether the defense is in man or zone, and that read can change the call at the line. Even when he's not the primary target, Worthy affects the entire offense. If safeties are shading deeper to account for him, Kelce gets more one-on-one looks underneath. Rashee Rice faces fewer brackets, and Mahomes gains more time in the pocket because coverage eyes are stretched. The offense becomes more multi-dimensional, which is why even a limited Worthy is more than the sum of his snaps. Of course, there are risks and red flags to monitor. Shoulder and ankle complaints aren't trivial for a player who relies on explosive acceleration, balance, and the ability to take a hit while airborne. Re-aggravation is the real threat. If he lands poorly on a cut or takes a shot while contesting a deep ball that could flare, either injury up. That's precisely why the coaching staff will likely be conservative at first. Fewer special team snaps, limited contact in practice, and a watchful approach during warm-ups to decide whether he plays more or fewer snaps. Expect the Chiefs to remove him from return duties if there's any concern. Special teams add more exposure than it's worth, and if Worthy's game time status shifts toward more limited, the offense will pivot. Hollywood Brown